Treasure Island. Chapter 5.
I finally stopped running and saw that I was close to the bottom of one of the small hills. The air was fresher here and the trees were taller. Suddenly, from up the hill, something jumped behind a tree. I did not know if it was a man or an animal, but it looked big and dangerous. I decided to walk back towards the beach, but then I saw him again. I realized it was a man, but he was running very fast from tree to tree. I remembered that I had a gun, and this made me feel safer. I decided to walk towards the man. When he saw me walking towards him, to my surprise, he came out from behind the tree and knelt down in front of me. "Who are you?" I asked.
"Ben Gunn," he said in a dry voice. "I've not spoken to anyone for 3 years.
The man had very long hair and skin that was burned by the sun. His clothes were dirty and made of old sails. "What happened to you?" I asked.
"I was left here by a ship," he said. "I've lived on fish and fruit ever since. I dream of eating good food again."
"If I can get back to my ship, I'll give you bread and cheese," I said. He began to look worried.
"If you can get back to your ship? Why? What's to stop you?" he said.
"It isn't a problem with you," I replied.
"I'm a good man," he told me. "I'm very rich too," he said in a quiet voice.
I began to think that perhaps Ben Gunn was crazy. Ben Gunn saw that I did not believe him.
"I am rich, and you can be rich too because you found me," he said.
Then he looked worried and said,
"You didn't come on Flint's ship, did you?"
I realize now that this man could help me. "No, Flint's dead, but some of Flint's crew is on the ship. That is not good for any of us," I told him.
"Is there a man with one leg?" he asked.
"Yes, Silver. He's the cook and their leader," I explained.
"If you work for Silver, I'm finished," he said.
I decided to tell him my story from the start, and he looked very interested.
"You're a good boy," he said at the end. "Don't worry, you can trust me. Do you think that Trelawney would give me money and allow me to come home on the ship if I helped him?" he asked.
"Of course," I replied. "And he'll need your help on the ship home, I'm sure."
"You're right," he said. "You know, I was on Flint's ship when he hid the treasure here. He was with 6 men, and they were on the island for about a week. We waited for them on a ship called the Walrus. One day, Flint returned to the ship on his own. The other 6 men were dead. We don't know how he did it. Billy Bones and Long John Silver were with me on the ship. They asked Flint where the treasure was. "You can go on the island and look for it," he said, "but you'll be there on your own. I'm taking this ship home." 3 years ago, I was on a different ship. When we saw the island, I told our crew that Flint's treasure was on it. We spent 12 days looking for it. They were not happy when we found nothing. One day they went back to the ship and told me I could stay. Here's a gun and a spade. You can look for the treasure on your own, they said. So you tell Trelawney I would prefer to work for a man I can trust like him than with a group of pirates.
I'll tell him, but how can I return to my ship from here? I asked him.
I have a boat. I made it myself. We could go to the ship when it's dark.
Suddenly, we heard the sound of a gun. They have started to fight, I said. We must be quick. I began to run back with Ben. He gave me directions and ran easily next to me. We heard more guns. Then I saw a flag flying above some trees.